Let's start with a simple but important question. Why are U.S. pharmaceutical companies increasingly partnering with Canadian CDMOs for generic drug development? At first glance, it might seem like just another outsourcing decision. But in reality, it's a carefully calculated strategic move, driven by speed, cost, regulation, and risk. In this presentation, we'll break down the real reasons behind this growing trend and what it means for the future of the pharmaceutical industry. To understand this shift, we first need to understand what a CDMO actually does. A contract development and manufacturing organization provides end-to-end support, from early-stage drug formulation all the way to commercial-scale manufacturing. For pharmaceutical companies, this means they don't have to build everything internally. Instead, they gain access to specialized expertise, faster development timelines, and deep regulatory knowledge, especially when it comes to complex FDA and ANDA submissions. In short, CDMOs act as strategic partners that help bring drugs to market faster and more efficiently. Now, let's talk about the competitive landscape of generic drugs. When a branded drug loses its patent, multiple companies rush to launch generic versions. But here, the key: the first company to file and get approval can receive up to 180 days of market exclusivity. That's a huge financial advantage. So success depends on three critical factors: rapid formulation development, flawless regulatory execution, and operational speed. Even small delays can mean losing that first-mover advantage and millions in potential revenue. So why don't U.S. companies just handle everything internally? The answer lies in three major challenges. First, cost. Operating in the U.S. involves high labor, infrastructure, and compliance expenses. Second, time. Building and validating new facilities can take years. And third, talent. There's often a limited pool of specialists in complex generic technologies. Together, these factors make fully in-house development slower, more expensive, and less flexible. This is where Canada comes into the picture. One of the biggest advantages is regulatory alignment. Health Canada's standards closely mirror those of the U.S. FDA, making approvals smoother and more predictable. Then there's geographic proximity. Being neighbors allows for real-time collaboration, easier logistics, and minimal time zone challenges. And importantly, Canada offers a highly skilled workforce, with strong expertise in advanced pharmaceutical sciences, including polymorphism and complex formulations. All of this makes Canada a highly reliable and efficient partner. Now, let's look at a critical decision factor: cost versus risk. While offshore regions may appear cheaper up front, they often come with higher regulatory risks, inconsistent compliance, and potential delays. Canadian CDMOs, on the other hand, offer a more balanced approach. They provide strong regulatory compliance, reliable timelines, and robust intellectual property protection. So even if the upfront cost is slightly higher, the overall cost becomes lower when you factor in fewer delays and reduced risk. In generic drug development, predictability is often more valuable than the lowest price. Another major reason for these partnerships is specialization. Today's generics are no longer just simple tablets. We're seeing increasing demand for complex products, such as injectables, controlled-release formulations, and biosimilars. These require advanced technical capabilities and precise manufacturing processes. Many Canadian CDMOs have built strong expertise in these areas, making them ideal partners for companies looking to compete in high-value, complex generic segments. The global pandemic highlighted a major vulnerability: supply chain dependence. Pharmaceutical companies realized the risks of relying too heavily on distant manufacturing hubs. As a result, there's been a shift toward nearshoring, bringing production closer to home. Canada offers a stable, secure, and politically reliable environment. Combined with USMCA trade benefits, it becomes an attractive option for ensuring consistent and resilient drug supply. So, what does all of this mean in practical terms? For U.S. pharmaceutical companies, partnering with Canadian CDMOs can lead to up to 50% faster time to market. That means earlier revenue, reduced risk, and stronger competitive positioning. For patients, it translates into faster access to affordable, life-saving medications. And for CDMOs, it creates long-term strategic partnerships and opportunities for innovation. This is not just a business decision. It has real-world impact across the entire healthcare ecosystem. To wrap up, the shift toward Canadian CDMOs is not SLU Cheoakratkoi and Yeruakratkoi. It's strategic. It's about combining speed, compliance, expertise, and reliability. In an industry where timing and precision are everything, choosing the right partner can make all the difference. So the takeaway is simple. Success in generic drug development is not just about what you build. It's about who you build it with.